Record button. All right, everybody. Well, hey, our next guest is a true professional marketer who does an amazing job with her show. On the unpredictable road of entrepreneurship, it can be immensely helpful to receive guidance and advice from those who have traveled those roads already. Their experiences distilled into teachable information can help the rest of us avoid common pitfalls. Although their advice should be treated as a source of inspiration and not prescription, you can avoid a lot of useless theory by listening to those who are doers, not simply dreamers. Oh my God, that's so true. Our guest, podcast runner Yifat, enjoys finding gems of this sort of information. And when she does, she likes to bring them out where you can hang out with world-renowned business leaders doing out of straightforwardness, honest advice on matters that matter to you and your business and your show. So we are honored and excited to have another fellow Austin Knight, Texas podcaster here. From I'm That Geek, joining us here on Pecha Pod Pit. So, hey, what's up, Yifat?
Thanks for having me. This is fantastic. How's it going for you?
It's going well. I'm only on one Red Bull, which is good. I got enough energy rocking and rolling.
No bathroom breaks yet?
You know what? When I first started, I scheduled one in, and then when I re-added new things, I forgot to reschedule it. So I've luckily a couple of people have talked for a little bit. I was able to run and go
very quickly.
Yeah. But you do an amazing job with your show, really interviewing and diving in deep with some really great doers, as I like to say, as you said.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit, about I'm the Geek.
Yeah, so I started way before. I was one of John Lee Dumas' first interviews, and I popped his hangout cherry. And it was very interesting to see, the beginning. When I interviewed him, someone said, dude, how are you going to monetize this thing? And he was like, I don't know. And then a few years later, look at that, John Lee Dumas. Everybody's following the trend and everybody's doing podcasts. And so what I found that was the most valuable part of all this conversation is not just having a conversation, because we're all kind of like passive listeners anyway. It's actually the interaction with the guest, right? Like being able to bring you people that you cannot afford to hire, but you can meet right here on the show and ask them anything you want that will move the needle for you. I thought that was the biggest value that anyone can get from a show like that. And so that's what it is. We are geeking out about stuff that I geek out about. So it's anything between, the youngest president of the NAACP to the VP of Walt Disney, how did they relaunch the Muppets, to SEO, to Instagram, to online business copywriting, customer experience, everything that can help you with your business, your life, your relationship, and just, generally make people happier. Because I really believe that, if we find a few people that we can connect with and feel like we belong to, our quality of life is going to increase, our happiness is going to increase, and that will ripple. And hopefully that starts one person at another, and the whole world is happier again.
I love it. I absolutely love it, because you're right there. The real value is not in the show. It's the total relationships, because you never know what it's going to lead to, and what it leads to, right?
Exactly.
What's been the biggest surprise from one of your relationships from interviewing somebody that's led to something you just never expected to happen?
Roland Frazier, I just interviewed him, and that led to 2 speaking engagements at War Room that I never thought ever going to happen. Different things where I interviewed other people, and that led to radio shows, being on radio shows, speaking at Eben Pagan's events, stages, working with the city of Austin. That was very interesting. So if you focus on relationships, and I think everybody who finally makes it says, if I lost it all today, I know 5 relationships that can help me get it back, right? So if you focus really on the relationships, that's, I think, the biggest business asset that you can build.
That's so true. That is so true. And Roland was a mentor of mine years ago, before he was part of DM back in the day. And so we connected, I think we connected really on Facebook originally like a year ago, talking about the podcasting, networking here locally, never met. We just continue to stay in line and follow back up with you that. And you're mentioning that. And I saw that you were speaking with, was it Molly as well at War Room too? Or no, somebody else over at War Room at the same time?
Oh, so I'll be speaking in April. So I haven't yet.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah, yeah.
But it's funny that we find a lot of those that are doing things tend to flock in the same direction with the same relationships, right?
I think we're getting kind of like tired with like people like, you do this, and then they don't, and you're like, oh, okay, once you catch up, we're here. But until then, let's just congregate with those who love to tinker and do and figure things out. That was my biggest passion in Google Plus. We were a bunch of geeks just trying to figure out a new system, right? And people were like, is this what you do all day? But I'm like, it's to me, it's fueling, right? Because exchanging ideas, that's amazing. And that's what podcasts are all about. Amazing ideas that you're sharing with people. And then you take one nugget and you actually put that into practice and everything changes after that. So I think that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Is there a nugget that you've experienced recently that just kind of surprised you?
One thing that I actually heard from Guy Kawasaki, and it was very fun to interview Guy, because he's so unscripted. If you ever get to interview Guy Kawasaki, it's like as if you're sitting in your living room for coffee, and he just, really? How come I never heard of that? It's fantastic. So yesterday he was talking about actually a podcast. He was interviewing Robert Cialdini, that talks about the 6 principles of influence, which I love because we integrate that in the show. Mm-hmm. And he said, a lot of people, when you do something for them, right, they say, thank you. And most of us respond with, you're welcome, which doesn't lead to anything, right? And he said, well, instead of saying that, say, sure thing, I'm sure you will do the same for me. Now it's like, oh, I value what you did. There's an expectation, right? We're kind of like exchanging value and not just like getting handouts or just like whatever, I did something and nobody appreciates it. So that was a biggie. Relationships, right? We're talking about a relationship. When you interview someone or when you refer someone to someone, most of the time it's like, oh, thanks for the introduction. It's like, you're welcome. And then nothing comes back, right? And so if you say, you're welcome, I'm sure you'll do the same thing for me. Now there's like, ooh, I should do something. And so the next step would be like, tell them how they can repay you. They like, well, introduce me to so-and-so, or do this and this, or leave a comment, or subscribe, or do something, right? This is how you can pay me back for all the value I give to you. And it makes people feel like they don't owe you anything because of the reciprocity feature, right? You're giving so much in your podcast, you're doing so much, and now how can I repay you? You tell them how to do it, and then you grow, they feel good, everybody feels great.
I love that. That's oh my gosh, hang on. That's a valuable there. That gets a noise aspect of things there for you. What would you say frustrates you the most though? Because you're doing some amazing things with people, but what frustrates you the most about this medium?
About this medium, I think ghosting. I think people started getting into a point of like, oh yeah, I'm going to be gay, whatever, I'm going to show up, I'll talk. We have an extensive process asking people to give us a few things before we go on the show. And people are very kind of like, some people are very nonchalant about it. Or you have to chase them down. I'm like, dude, I'm promoting you, right? I'm giving you my audience. You're going to be this star. So ghosting kind of like thinking you're all that. I think this medium is going to change it, and especially live video, because you're not all that. There's a billion other people who probably do very similar things, who run in the same circles, who can, are much more givers. Can I say that? Who give more than you do.
Much more giving than you. There you go. There you go.
I'm inventing new words in English. But I think that's a great way to kind of like eliminate the talker from the doers, right? So that's my biggest pet peeve is don't ghost. It's not professional. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of like, in my book, you're done. Like you ghost me one time, you're done.
But I love what a lot of people do, and this is what we do. We don't ask a million questions, but we do ask some specific things to make it easier for us to prepare for the show, to promote the show afterwards. You're talking those exact same things. What are some things? I doubt you ever run into rough patches with questions, but there's probably a few things in there that you're asking. What do they want to focus on, or if they have
for us, it's a little different. We're asking. I want you to record a little video because our show is live. And it's broadcasted everywhere, and we want people to know why they should come and talk to you. in real time, right? So just do a 30-second video, pull up your phone and just say, hey, I'm going to be on I'm That Geek on Thursday at 1 p.m. on the 23rd. And here are the 3 things that you're going to get from me. Done. And send it to me, right? Dude, it's like pulling teeth. I'm like, don't you know what you're going to talk about? Like, how hard is it? Or give me a bio, give me 3 topics that, you want to be known for. Give me a headshot. I'm going to send people to, buy your stuff or opt in or something. Where do you want me to send it? And give me a graphic. How hard is that?
You would think not too hard, but it is.
I mean, I've actually had a few people who luckily said it like a month or so before. They're like, dude, that's a lot. And I'm like, okay, well, it's not for you then, we'll book someone else. Totally fine. Mm-hmm. But don't ghost, right? And don't do that like 2 days before. Yeah.
I love that though, but that is a great way. We've done things where we've recorded a few minutes after the event, but it wasn't a live thing. When you're going live, you want to have that pre-commercial, that pre-excitement beforehand, and especially since you're doing live and really doing a great job. Any secrets to really driving engagement to your live episodes that you think you kind of have figured out?
To get more views and more people participating? Mm-hmm. So I started going through LinkedIn messages and actually looking through all my first degree connections and looking for keywords. So for example, I was about to interview someone about bots and propaganda. So I went through my LinkedIn and I found there were 10 people maybe. And I said, hey, we're going to have this show. Since this is your, this is what you're an expert in, I would love to have you come in and be part of the conversation on video and share your insights. And someone told me, it's like, that's funny. You're talking about bots and this sounds like a bot. I'm like, dude, it's me, I'm typing, but it's like, so I became so markety, I guess. It was like...
Well, I love that because we use that to book people and get booked on, finding people that have similar shows by doing keyword searches and stuff like that. But it's LinkedIn is so awesome when it comes to that, of being able to really find the true guests or audience that you're searching for. And that adds value to the listeners or the people you're reaching out to tremendously. It's awesome. I love that tip.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is to explain that this is not a webinar. We're not selling anything. It's an actual conversation that happens live that you can be a part of face to face. People don't, it doesn't click. They're like, what are you going to sell me? Why am I going to watch you? No, I'm not. So now I say it's like, it's a podcast on steroids. Remember podcast? Now you're part of the conversation too. And they're like, oh, okay, I'll be there.
I love that.
So that works. The other one is, there are a lot of software, if you're like really organized, which I'm not, and I'm hopefully getting there. But if you have a lot of shows like ahead of time and you know what you're going to do ahead of time, there's a lot of software out there that will message people for you, right? So you could have the software run those queries and ahead of time send those queries based on the show. And if you have all your pages and all that stuff set up, you can have them register and follow up, and now you have a dedicated audience. The challenge is, in my case, is that every guest is different. And so I might have someone who's talking about bots and then people are interested in that. And then the next day it's someone who talks about, I don't know, gardening. No, but something that has nothing to do with bots. And they're like, oh, now I'm bored.
Right.
So that's.
But that's okay. I mean, that's the beautiful thing is that you're that geek.
I'm that geek. I'm very geeky.
Exactly. What is the best way for people to connect with you, Yifat, to reach out to find more information? thatgeek.com. This is our website. If you opt in, you'll get notified everywhere, right? Like in your email and in your Facebook and all that stuff. Search for my name, which is there. And it's very unique. And now you have my face. And so you know who I am and you can find me on all socials. But I really love to focus on my own email list. So make sure that you opt in there. There's a lot of goodies inside. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. And then we're going to have you on a Wednesday night webinar here in the next couple of weeks as well, too, sharing some great nuggets as well, too. We're looking forward to that.
Me too. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. We'll see you later.
See you later.
Bye. All right. That was